Oh yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog. We all know him, we all love him. Screw that stupid plumber Mario, Sonic is a cool guy. And I'm sure we all have our favorite Sonic game. Some people say they love Sonic 3 and Knuckles the most, some people say they love the adventure games the most. But in my opinion, the best Sonic game ever created is none other but Breadwinner CD Sonic Jam for the Tiger Gamecom. You know the Gamecom, right? The son of the Game Boy and Game Gear? What? You don't remember that the two got married? And that the Game Boy got pregnant? Whatever. The Tiger Gamecom was an absolute powerhouse! Like, Nintendo 64? What even is that? 64 bits? Nah, that's nothing compared to the Gamecom's amazing bits, as you can see on the screen. This epic game console had more games than you fuckers have brain cells. Throw your Game Boys away, throw your Game Gears away, those are all just kids' toys. But enough rambling about how amazing the Gamecom was. Let's talk about the game itself. Sonic Jam for the Gamecom. But before I talk about the gameplay itself, I first want to talk about the game's story, because yes, this game had a story, and it's a very deep one, so please listen. This story is very important, and there's so much lore. The story of Sonic Jam for the Gamecom plays out right after the events of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, when our heroes once again defeated Dr. Robotnik. Robotnik was still mad that he was defeated, so he had to figure out a plan that was much more bulletproof and actually working. Then he realized something. All these plans he was using against Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles were just physical plans, like something he actually does to them in the real world. But what about something that he does in a virtual world? Something that he does to them in a fake world? And so, Robotnik's revenge plan on our three heroes started. He kidnapped both Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles and used a virtual reality torture device to torture our heroes. This fake world that Robotnik sent Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles into, it was nothing they had seen before. The physics were god-awful. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles were jumping like if the gravity of
Mobius
was similar to that of the gravity of Jupiter. And some of these mechanics our heroes are used to using, some of them don't even work anymore. Just look at how Tails tries to gain speed to run up this tree. He can't do that anymore. He has to use his flying just to get over that obstacle. And you thought that was bad? Just look at what happened to Knuckles. He feels so much pain for the simulation. He can no longer glide. He can no longer climb. He lost his abilities. His arms are too weak for the torture. The only way for our heroes to escape this horrifying hell will be if they go through all these levels and actually beat it. And that's easier said than done. It's an absolute nightmare to go through. And the gameplay itself is also very awful. I couldn't even beat it. And that's what makes me feel for the characters. That's what makes this game's story just so unique and so touching. I actually feel for the characters while playing through these levels. All the pain they feel, all of this shit they have to go through. It's a game experience not like any other. Unlike many other games that also have a deep story, this one legit makes me feel the same pain as the characters. Like, legit! And also, the game's music, it sounds so torturous. It is the music from those levels, except that it sounds awful. It doesn't sound as good as those levels normally sound. It sounds horrible. And I think the reason why it sounds like that is because it's just like everything else is part of Robotnik's torture device that he's using on Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. Just like the awful physics, the awful music is a way to torture them, to make them feel sick, to make them want to just make them want to become deaf. It's unbelievably evil. Of all things Robotnik has done, this got to be the most sadistic thing this evil mad scientist has ever done. Oh, and if that wasn't already evil and sadistic of him, he decided to put a death trap at the fight you were supposed to have with him. And because of the lack of a checkpoint, you have to start all over. You have to go through this level again. It's... Oh my god, I feel so bad for the characters. They have to deal with this shit. I just can't take it. This is the most horrible experience, and that's what this game did so well. It made me feel pain I never felt before. It made me feel torture I never felt before. It truly showed Dr. Robotnik at his most evil, sadistic ways ever. And that's what made Sonic Jam on the Gamecom so special. Sonic Jam on the Gamecom has to have one of the deepest stories in gaming ever. I know I haven't beaten the game, but that just makes me feel like the characters. You know, there are always things in life that you try to beat, that you try to do, that you try to achieve, but you can't. It's too hard to achieve. You just can't do it, even if you try. This is what makes the game so special. It was so realistic, and I felt for the characters so much. Normally, when a video game character gets hurt or dies and you get game over or have to try again, normally I'm like, okay, fine, I'll try again and just play the game, but this game, it just made me feel so emotional. Every time the characters get hurt, every time they die, it makes me feel the pain. This pain that I feel playing through was the exact pain the characters felt. I still can't believe that Sonic and his friends had to go through this. I mean, they may smile on the outside, but deep inside you still feel that pain. It's such unsolvable trauma. It's something they can't get over, and it's just what life is like. There are things in life that are just so hard to get over with. And this game just perfectly shows it. Even though Sega says that there is a Sonic 4, I don't believe them. This Sonic 4 that they call Sonic 4 is not the real Sonic 4. The real Sonic 4 has always been there and has always existed during the classic era. The real Sonic 4 that should have been called Sonic 4 the whole time was none other than Sonic Jam on the Gamecom. I've played many games, but of all of them, Sonic Jam on the Gamecom has to be the saddest of them all to play. And that's what made it so special. In conclusion, Sonic Jam on the Gamecom was more than just a game. It was the saddest experience ever. And I think it's safe to say that this game was not just the game of all time, but the most game ever made. And that's why it's better than you remember. Nah, just kidding. This game is fucking dog shit!